Hello, welcome to the Allied Media Conference virtual Braided Nations dinner. My name is Devon Francis. I will be one of your hosts for this evening. And a little bit about myself. I am the founder of Yard World, an event and production company that's based in New York. And we pride ourselves in thinking about Black joy, queer joy, celebration, how to create alternative spaces to dine, what it means to center underrepresented individuals and collectives, and really focus on distributing wealth in ways that feel good and impactful for our community. Um, and so I'm really excited, but also quite honestly a bit nervous to be hosting because I feel like I'm learning so much about the people that are going to be giving presentations today. Just a lot about how people are caring for themselves and for each other, and how they're thinking about food, mutual aid. Um, when we got together the first few times to talk about what this dinner was going to be, I realized that there were so many different through lines and points of connectedness that I, in my own kind of work in my corner of the world, didn't realize until we all were able to connect over Zoom of all places. So I feel really honored to be able to share space with everyone today. Um, and so I wrote a little something to kind of just set the mood and tone for what this dinner is going to be. Uh, I'm reading from it, so if you see my eyes move across the room, it's because I did not memorize it, but I think it still works. And it goes like, this is not a lecture, this is a dialogue. This is not a transaction, it is an exchange. This is not a show. This is you being called in to participate in the love, energy, and labor that everyone here has offered of themselves in hopes that we may exist as reflections of one another. And the reason why I wanted to write that and say that out loud is because I think that oftentimes over these virtual platforms, it's really easy to forget that this is not a feat of showmanship. It's about being vulnerable and open and taking a leap into understanding someone else's mind and soul and world. And I think that through the conversations I've had with all of the incredible chefs and organizers, writers, authors that are part of this talk, I've learned so much about what that actually means to participate, to share yourself, to be vulnerable. Um, so I'm excited to get started. The one thing that I just like a few housekeeping things. So um, we are utilizing the app called Slido, which you can use on your phone, your tablet, or on your desktop or whatever you have, your Mac, your PC. And basically you can, I think the hashtag is Braided Nations. If you type in Braided Nations, it'll kind of give you instructions to navigate and ask questions. And this is what I mean by participating. You can ask questions of the different speakers and organizers, and we can learn more together. And so I want to first introduce Carlos Baca, who is the one of the members of I Collective and Fourth World Farm. He is an indigenous food activist, and Carlos kind of set off the theme Braided Nations because of a mural that he had found or came upon when spending time at Soulfire Farm. So I'd love to introduce Carlos, who is phenomenal, and have him share his story and talk a little bit about what Braided Nations means in this context.
Hey, good evening, everybody. So I'm Carlos Baca. I'm from the Southern Ute Nation. So Braided Nations, it's a pretty profound concept because I think our liberation as Indigenous and Black people are kind of inextricably tied and woven together through colonization and the vision back to indigeneity. So the story of Braided Nations is that a couple years ago, I was at Soulfire Farms. I Collective had just done a dinners in New York City, and uh, a couple of us drove over to Soulfire, and it happened to fall on uh, Love's Taken, Hate's Given Day. Um, and as we were there, Leah Penniman gave us a tour of the spot, and her sister had done a beautiful mural, and in the mural there were braiding seeds into the woman's hair, and it really sat with me really heavy. Leading up to us eating dinner, we went around and exchanged uh, some things, and I shared with them. I had written an article for the Indian Collective about how to reclaim ceremony. How do we go about reclaiming ceremony in reference to Thanksgiving Day? Um, and in that, I had written about how our women had braided seeds into their hair and sewed them into their clothes, and it was a connection that I had never really. I didn't know that we held that mutual uh, depth of indigeneity, I guess you would say. To know that even through displacement and genocide and through all of these things that our people have suffered, that our women, our matriarchs had the knowledge and mm, the connectivity for our people to bring those seeds, to maintain them, and to keep them hidden from the colonizer. And so, that's where we come together right now. Like I said, I think our liberation as people is not inseparable. I think we have to do everything we can to break down the walls, the barriers that colonization has uh, funneled our vision towards each other, um, and really see how do we uh, how we open these dialogues. It's like here we are, some beautiful indigenous beautiful folks here, just here to share, conversate with each other, to like Devon put it, to be vulnerable, right? And so that is the story of Braided Nations.
Thank you, Carlos, for sharing that story and also prompting the kind of theme and thesis for this dinner. So again, I just want to prompt anyone who is watching right now that anytime you have a question, you are more than welcome to send it over to the Slido app. I'm like looking at these boxes right now, trying to familiarize myself with how Slido works. This is my first time too. But I have a question. I have I guess, a comment first, and then we can go into just questions. And I also encourage any of our other presenters to, if you have any questions you want to throw forward, feel free to just speak out. But I've been thinking a lot about just the act of gathering and what language, oral tradition, communication means. And I really love, as you're telling the story, like I'm thinking about the idea that, in order for your hair to be braided, it's oftentimes an act that someone else has to do for you or to you. And obviously it can be done in isolation, but a lot of that kind of sharing and that ritual is about, two people or two more people coming together and having that exchange and interaction. How are you thinking about community care and ritual right now in this moment for your own collective and your own kind of family group?
Ooh, well, I just I'm just coming out of our Sundance ceremony back home, and I don't know, for anybody that doesn't know what that is, I just did we do 4 days and 4 nights of no food, no water, and dancing in the in this year in the mid 90s to 100-degree weather. So and that's, you know as brutal as it sounds, from the outside, it's also a reflection of what you're willing to sacrifice for your people and what you're willing to sacrifice for your community, to how you go about putting that on your shoulders and moving forward with that through the other 361 days of the year, to give back and to be able to provide and offer uh, for communities. So, myself right now, we got, here at Fourth World Farm, that's kind of what we're building, a gathering space for the local activist community. The immigrant community is always, we have Ornos here to, if people want to just come in and cook, they're free to do that. If somebody wants to come and plant here, we have a good chunk of space over here, probably about a quarter of an acre that's open for community growing, and all these kind of things. So, it, part of us building our own tables is making sure that we have the foundation to put them on. And I think that, collectively, this is the next step in a lot of ways, is, the uh, revitalizing all of the land base that was taken, not only from our indigenous community, but for y'all, and so that's my vision of it.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. And again, that word vulnerability, I think, really resonates and rings true with sharing your practices and traditions, and um, just the ways in which you're navigating the spaces with you're in, and also building and creating space and making space. So thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to move on to Sewa Yuli. And Sewa is going to be leading us into a spoken word style story about salt in our cosmology. And Sewa.
Hi. Piali, Kualitonali, Nanotoka Sewayuli. Buen día, mi nombre es Sewayula. Good evening, my name is Sewayuli. And my pronouns are ella, they, them. I represent UM and Purepecha Nation. And greetings from Kumi Island. And, so in my hands, I hold salt from the sacred salt pans of Paella, given to me by a fellow birth keeper, Haley Robego Callahagan. Science calls it a compound made by joining a positively charged acid with a negatively charged base, sodium chloride. It is essential for the heart, liver, and kidney. All these organs correspond energy to a certain emotion. Indigenous people from the world have a much deeper understanding of the sacred and essential connection. These salt crystals come from our ocean. Our ocean is moved by the moon, Nana Mesli. Our moon teaches us how to sync with nature and its cycles. These crystals hold cosmology. They hold songs. They hold messages of creation. They preserve time itself. It is a conduit conducting the vibrations from one cell to another. I encourage you to speak and pray with your salt. Salting our food is not just to bring out our flavors. It is spiritual alchemy and vital to our existence. Tlazokamati, Wixtosiwat, Ikamopawi, Mautla, Sontla, Motla Witli, Nitech Maka Chikawa, Nana Chalchiwitlique, Towantin, Tikneki, Timoyo, Chikawas, Ikateo Inemi, Chitla Sontla Atsin Inyewat, Yatimochike. Thank you, Wixtosiwat. You give us strength. We pray that you strengthen our hearts with your sacred existence. Love the water that we are made from. Thank you. Thank you, Wixtosiwat, for your medicine, for your love and light. I was going to pray with the salt. Thank you, Creator, for another day of life. Thank you, creation, Nokampa, Tlazokamati, to all creation and all that exists within us. May this food nourish our minds, our bodies, our spirits. May it give us the strength to move forward. May it give us that love and that light and that acknowledgement of all that is within our cycles of nature. I give you thanks for everything, for nurturing ourselves, for nurturing us and nurturing our families. I send blessings to all the people who have handled this food, all the folks who have been caretaking our seeds, all the people in the grocery stores, all the people out there in the fields, all the farmers. La Sukamati. Ometeo. I like to share a song. It's a water song. Awayana hey nay, awayana hey nay, awayana hey nay, awayana hey nay, awayana yana hey nay, awayana yana hey nay, yawan awan. Tata minahadawa, para maharawa, awayana yana hey nay, yawan. Awayana hey nay, awayana hey nay, awayana hey nay, awayana hey nay, awayana yana hey nay, awayana yana hey nay, yawan awan. Tata minahadawa, para maharawa, awayana yana hey nay. I'm at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was so beautiful. I feel like as you were moving through the steps and singing and offering up salt as a part of this kind of ritual or this kind of movement, I was just thinking about how food as matter, food as a conduit, is something that we consume oftentimes through our mouth and through that vessel, but then also this idea of what's also the outpouring that you kind of also gave through your voice. And I'm wondering, just on this kind of same track of thinking through this idea of ritual and how we use ritual as a method for care,
Mhm.
what are the kind of relationships you see through oral tradition and the act of eating, or the act of gathering to eat?
Mhm. Thank you. I think with my family, it's been really, especially during these times, it's just um, leading by example and sharing like prayers, even if I'm in other spaces. I think sharing those prayers, and when people start to see that, and even talking about it, sharing the just the importance of the connections that we have with our foods, and those vibrations that are put forth into this food when we're cooking, and even burning medicines. And it has been a really huge part, especially now that I've been at home more, and I'm cooking for myself a lot more than I am cooking for others. Um, and that has been, and now speaking of like just being raw and vulnerable, it has, during this time, I have realized that I give so much of myself and to others, and I'm always, in if it's not ceremony, it's for my catering business, or just for my relatives in general. I put so much love and thought into my food, and when it came to myself, I don't know if I gave myself that much as I did to others. So this time really taught me to really take care of myself. And as I was sharing that love that I also gave to others, to myself, that was a very powerful and healing time for me, and still, so I encourage other people also to, to just by the way that by leading that from example, not so um much of teaching, but more so just showing how good this food, is when we give it that type of love.
Absolutely. I want to segue really quickly to say thank you to our interpreters who are performing and doing that labor. Super, super grateful for you. Um, and then just wanted to make another note about Slido. So the hashtag to join to be able to post questions is hashtag Braided Nations, BraidedNations. I cannot believe I spelled that correctly. So if you want to send a question in, the Q&A is open and we'd love to hear from you. And Sewa, will you also just tell us a little bit about your food as care work for you? Like, what does that look like and mean for you in your work?
Yeah, well, I'm a student midwife right now, and I've been doing birth work for the last 6, 7 years almost. And I think even before I was a birth worker, it was just always one of the only things I actually knew that I felt like really comfortable in how to like care for people or show my love. Sometimes I wasn't good with my words, or but really enjoyed doing that because that's what I learned from my mother and my grandmother. And so now it's a big part of my life. It's the center of everything that I do, and the way that I nurture and share, not just nurturing food or nutritious food and ancestral foods, but also stories and cosmology and songs, and sharing that type of medicine with other people, and just everything revolves around love. It's just really about love. And so yeah, so I really integrated a lot into my work as a birth worker, and a lot of the same energy that I put in, even when I'm doing a big catering, I still pray for my food, I sing to it, and I burn medicine. It's just a really wonderful way to connect, um, and just to share that love with others.
Absolutely. Do any of our other dinner guests have questions for Sewa or Carlos? Just putting it out there, breaking the ice. Well, our next two presenters are doing some incredible barbecue magic, which I actually feel incredibly jealous of because somehow I forgot during this whole process that we're doing a virtual dinner to actually make myself dinner. So
Aw.
I'm going to try not to cry while I watch you both demonstrate and talk about the food that you're making. But with that said, I'm really excited to introduce Kirsten and Pam to the dinner.
Thank you so much. And thank you for moderating this. And Sewa, that prayer and song was just absolutely gorgeous, and kind of the Zen moment I needed right now. So I just like to start by saying Gunal Tish Hati Gode, Kirsten Yuhat Duasak. My name is Kirsten Kirby, and I'd just like to thank you all for attending this virtual dinner. It means a lot to hold community in this way right now, especially with being so distanced from everybody. It's really important right now. Right now we have our smokehouse going in the middle of Detroit. Some good old Indigenous vibes here. So I guess before I start in on my work, I just am really excited to show you the fish that we're smoking. So I'm gonna go grab it right now. All right. So y'all are gonna get an up close and personal on the actual food here. Devon, I wish I could share this with you so earnestly. This is trout right now that we're smoking. It's a beautiful fish and native here to the Great Lakes. There's something really special about smoke and fire that really just captivates us and naturally brings us in towards it. And both Indigenous and Black communities have such a history with smoked meat or barbecue, and it's really a skill. And I think that just needs to be uplifted and not whitewashed. Because Indigenous and Black cuisine is American cuisine as we know it right now. And it's important to hold that up and appreciate it and know that our food is exquisite and it's from the resilience of our ancestors, and it's really a celebration. Most of my work in food revolves around agriculture, and in this urban environment, sometimes it's hard to connect to food in meaningful ways. Everything is moving so fast all the time, and there's really a disconnect. So rematriation of seeds and preserving our culture through our seed stories is the basis of my work right now. And to be able to share those seeds with community and be able to watch other people grow them. Right now we have like our neighbors have some corn seed that I gave them. They planted it and they're white folk, but I was able to bridge through food and let them know how important that is to me and how sacred it is, and letting them know that taking care of it is taking care of the community. And I think more than white folks taking care of the community, it's been Black and Indigenous folks really, like you can see influence through and through of our cuisines and them intertwining at a lot of points, and so much knowledge to be shared and strength. But yeah, it's great to have this dinner and reconnect over that history. And I'm gonna hand it off to my buddy Cam because I feel like I'm rambling.
Cam Sat Indigenous, Turtle Island in Dujaba. I'm Cam Sat. I'm the chef and owner of GBQ Foods, and I have been spending the last 3 years trying to reconnect with that Anishinaabe culture through food, and it's been really important to me. And I express that through my cuisine and the things that I prepare. Something that I've been focusing on lately is making food accessible. And I've been doing a lot of catering and dinner parties. And the thing that I really want to extend my focus to is making sure that food is accessible to all demographics and communities. So that's what GBQ Foods has been doing so far. So for the recipe that I put up is stuffed squash with wild rice and huila la coche and red currants. What I wanted to highlight the most out of that is the huila la coche. It's a fungus that grows on the ears of corns when they ripen, and it's actually something that's kind of rare because of the fact that corn has been hybridized and a gene has been intertwined with it that is resilient to growing the fungus. So it only grows on organic, non-sprayed corn. The earthiness and smokiness from it complements wild rice so well. And I just, when I put this recipe together and tried it, everything just connected so well for me, and it just all intertwined together so well. The wild rice, which is the main staple for Native American foods, is it's called the food that grows on water, and it was told in the creation story during the third fire. Like that is one of the most important staples Native American food, and it's because of its high protein content and the fact that that it's gluten free. And when we talk about gluten, we talk about the fact that a lot of the overly processed food, gluten is a byproduct, and to have this, you know, rice that is gluten free, high protein content, and getting back to that those nutritional foods that fulfill us and don't stuff us, it is a really big part of my work as well, and that's why I felt like it was appropriate to include that into my finished products. Another thing in my ingredients is squash, which is also a really important food in our food group. Um, a lot of people are familiar with the Three Sisters story, and it's squash, beans, and corn. And the reason why the story is so important is because of the way that they grow is called companion planting. So the corn provides like something for the beans to climb up, and then the beans supply the nitrogen in the soil, and the squash leaves filter the amount of sunlight, um, so that weeds don't grow, invasive weeds that will overtake the soil. And like that right there, the fact that they cultivated that, thousands of years ago, is just why I felt like that was also appropriate. And I will actually got some squash fire roasting right now that I'll grab and hold up to the camera so you can see.
Chris,
Yeah.
I
Oh
really,
yeah.
I really love what you said about barbecue, because I was actually on a call with a publication, a big name publication that I will not name right now.
All
One of the editors was like, "We don't know what to talk about right now. We can't. We're going to do an issue on barbecue for the summer, but now we're going to move it because we need to figure out how to get Black Lives Matter content out in a meaningful way."
right.
And I was just like, well, there's this interesting thing about barbecue that we should maybe talk about. Speaking of which, speaking of thoughtful content and doing your research,
Doing any research really.
but I really love I love what you said, and thank you for sharing. Do you did we see the food? Did you already give us a good glamour shot of the?
Well,
So here's the squash.
it's right off the fire.
We love char.
Right off the fire. There's some chanterelle mushrooms in there, wild rice. Yes, and I salt and pepper, chanterelle, and wild rice into this, and wrapped it. So it's got all those elements of smokiness, earthiness, and
Steam coming off
a
that
little
baby.
bit. Yeah. There you
I have two
go.
questions. My first question is, how well does this travel? Because I haven't eaten yet. My second question is how easy or hard is it for you all, and this is maybe also for Sewa and Carlos, how easy is it for you to find indigenous ingredients that you feel reflect your community and where you come from?
Some things are easy to come by, but other things are like special order, like game meat. I have a connection for getting the kind of game meat that I want to get, but it's not something that is very accessible. And that's why seed keepers are important, and people to teach you how to grow your own food. And that's why, like, to have access to these ingredients, like something we need to do is make them more accessible.
Yeah. Accessibility is definitely an issue for our community, and a lot of our ingredients and foods have been co-opted by white cultures, and created scarcity within that. I mean, I could never like buy ramps, let's say, or like wild mushrooms at a reasonable price, because there's such high demand for it. Like, I had to forage these mushrooms, and that's a lot of time and energy exerted, and people don't have that. So definitely creating a system where these foods are grown, are harvested, being able to provide that to our communities is definitely something that we both strive for.
Even like foraging culture too can be like with uneducated people going out and foraging and over harvesting, and there's dangers of that, which foraging is also like something that we do to stay connected with all those other foods that people going out harvesting, and there's dangers of that, which we do to stay connected with all the foragings. It became something that's really common and mass produced, and it kind of defeats like the whole sanctity of like that interconnectedness with the land, when that's something that we struggle with as well.
Amazing. So I'm like so happy that people are actually engaging with questions. There are some here that I have for Kirsten Cam specifically. The first one is, what is the squash wrapped in? Is the squash wrapped in anything?
Well, I wrap the squash in tin foil, but
On the embers?
yeah. But you don't even really need to do that. At the food summit last year with a fellow chef of mine, Chef Arley, he just threw the squash right in the fire. I mean, the ash adds a bit more smokiness to it. She gives it a little more dimension.
Got it. Okay. And then let's see. The next question is for Sewa. Sewa, the question is, how have you woven stories within your food, in any dishes or some of the food that has story woven into it?
Yes. I have something very in particular that I feel very close to, that is just kind of become like a staple of how I give my love. And it has been atole, which translates to like liquid corn drink in Nahuatl. And I grew up with both of my grandmas giving me atole from my mother's side. She would make it from mesquite pods, and we call them pechitas, and that was one of the ways that grandmother would nurture us. And my other grandma, yeah, we grew up with a different style because she's from South Mexico and Michoacan. And so it has become like a staple for me to really, just really show people a lot of those stories of our corn creation stories through our atole. And it just brings forth a lot of just dialogue around resistance and resilience and preservation. And a lot of times it helps empower people, just have that sense of pride into our foods and our sacred foods and first foods.
Thank you. And then another question that came through is, this person is saying, anonymous, I love anonymous, I'm curious if anyone has anything to say about the relationships between vibrations in food and other modalities of vibration and healing, like sound and color.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why I wanted to share a song. I wasn't originally going to share it, but I was encouraged from a friend to share a song. And because they know that when I'm cooking, I'm always singing songs. If I'm not singing and I have music on, and I do believe music, just songs bring forth those memories and they activate us, they make us feel good, and then we put that joy into our food. And I absolutely believe that that sound, that vibration really changes the alchemy of our food.
Absolutely. Thank you. So this is the part of the dinner where I realized that again, I should have made dinner, but moving past that still. And I get to introduce Clancy Miller, who is, I mean, Clancy, what aren't you good at is actually my question. Clancy Miller is a writer, cookbook author, and founder of For the Culture, which is a magazine celebrating Black women in food and wine. And I am so astonished and grateful for the work that you do. And I'm so happy that I get to share this space with you today. And that we both forgot to make dinner.
I'm also grateful for that. Thank you for that introduction, that kind introduction. And thank you, Carlos, for your talk, and Sewa for your prayer and your song, and Kirsten and Cam for sharing what you've made that I think is making. I really, before I introduce Experience Relish, I want to say that I really appreciate what has already happened, because I feel like I don't know enough. And I think in our initial conversation, one of the questions that stuck out to me is, what does Black and Indigenous unity look like? And I feel like everything that is unfolding right now is such a great example of that, because even though I was nervous about this because I feel like I don't know enough, I think, at least for me in this moment, this experience is really about learning, and about paying attention to some things that you already know. So Kirsten, when you talked about Indigenous people and Black people being basically the architects of cuisine in this country, in this land we live on, that's literally one of the founding principles of For the Culture magazine, and why I chose to create For the Culture, because I feel like there's so much that doesn't get highlighted. And I specifically wanted, as a Black woman, wanted to focus on Black women in food. But I definitely, absolutely believe that our experiences are intertwined, and there are so many parallels. And they're parallels that we can easily recognize, like barbecue and smoke and the use of smoke. And there are other parallels. So I appreciate you all for highlighting those parallels, that some that are very apparent and some that maybe are less apparent. But yeah, I also appreciate you all for literally answering the question, what Black and Indigenous unity looks like. It's a conversation, and it's learning. And I'm really excited to learn from and introduce 3 people who are behind the group Experience Relish. And please correct me if I mispronounce your names. Ederic Goudia, LeGenevieve Squires, and Brittany Peeler.
Yes. Oh, LeGenevieve, definitely. I always mess up E's name and call her Edric, and she's just like, "That's not my name. We've been around each other long enough to know my name." It's Edric.
Edric. Okay, thank you.
Yes, and she's with Gabriel Hall.
Okay.
And then today, I'm going to read a few inserts from In Between Harlem and Heaven. It's actually been a book that I've been studying, and I actually took over to India with me when Britt and I studied in India for 4 months. And there's some things that just really popped out to me that were cool. So African people labored in the fields and kitchens, creating the foundation of this new world while developing a new cooking expression. Wherever they found themselves, they were resilient people working the land, farming, creating a legacy of food, preparation, and hospitality throughout the world, infusing African traditions and history in every dish along the way. Slaves were the culinary game changers. There we've said it. Through slavery, Africa changed the global culinary conversation because African slaves built through their labor and their farming skills the agriculture platform for every country they went to. They took their seeds, their ingredients, and their cooking techniques and changed how the world across 5 continents, Africa, Asia, Europe, and North and South America ate. Fusion as a result of migrating people. So the idea that Black folks who cook are only making soul food is frightening. What we have to say is much bigger than that. It's our job to expand the conversation. And so Jessica Harris wrote in Zester Daily, wherever okra points its green tip, Africa has been, and the trail of trade evidenced by the presence of the pot is formidable. It turns up in the cooking of North Africa and the Middle East, where it is known as bamia. It makes a savored curry in India, where it's called bindi in Hindi. It is also known as lady fingers by those of more colonial persuasion. Spain takes its word from the pod from the Bantu languages of Central Africa and calls it quingombo, and the Brazilian variant quiambo seems to derive from the same origins. Our American use of the word okra comes from the Igbo language of Nigeria, where the plant is referred to as okura. It is the French word for okra that takes us to the heart of the matter in Louisiana. And so here we're going to present to you today fried okra, which we actually got the okra from Kirsten, and makshu. And my last thing in terms of discovering my roots, because I've been on a search for finding who I am, and through a conversation with my grandmother, I am the mother whose mother-grandmother, Beulah May Odessa Vines, half Native American, grew vegetables, pickled beets, canned apples, raised poultry, picked cotton, and churned butter for her biscuits to feed sustainable food to her 8 children, plus 3 grandchildren in Sylacauga, Alabama. Her connection to the land showed her will to resist in adversity. She lived to be 107 years old. I cook for her resistance.
Amazing. Can you tell us also more about your connection with the makshu recipe?
Yes. Hi, Clancy.
Hi.
This is Cedric.
Hi.
So, I am of a mother whose grandmother is actually my namesake. Cedric Mitchell was a Creole woman. She was born in the late 1800s, and she raised 7 children, 2 sons and 5 daughters in South Bastrop, Louisiana. And today I'm definitely cooking in her honor and her resilience. So the dish I'm actually making today is called a makshu salad with a satsuma Dijon vinaigrette. It's rooted in preserving those ancestral traditions, but also leaning into the liberation of the beauty and freedom of what is to come. So traditionally, makshu actually comes from the Amara people, which is an indigenous nation in South America. It means mashed maize or corn. So traditionally, makshu in Louisiana is a Creole dish. It is served, of course, corn is the main ingredient, and it is served cooked, it is sauteed with onions, bell peppers, celery, what we call the Holy Trinity, really the base of most Creole cooking. And there's garlic and tomatoes added to make it really nice side dish. It was actually one of my grandmother's favorite dishes. She just called it corn and tomatoes. She never really called it makshu, but she loved making this dish from all of the crops, all of the produce that was actually grown in her garden. So my grandmother was born in 1913, and she really was a housekeeper her entire life. So her and my grandfather got married in 1940, right before he left for World War II. While he was away at war, she actually took a house as a on-premise housekeeper in New Orleans for a family there. When he returned from war, they purchased a plot of land in Wallace, Louisiana, and built their house on it. Then a couple of years later, purchased a lot adjacent to that so that they could actually they actually had 3 gardens on that plot of land. And so from those gardens is where really they nourished themselves as well as the family and even neighbors who bartered with them and other neighbors around for different crops. They had their garden and they grew things such as the corn I'm using today, the peppers, the onions, tomatoes, celery, okra. And my grandfather returned to his job with Celatec Textiles, making ceiling tiles. My grandmother, she was a housekeeper. She returned to being a housekeeper, this time off premise for a white family. For over 40 years, she was the housekeeper for several generations, raising their children, cooking their meals, and cleaning their homes. And she did this for 40 years until one day in 1987, my grandfather, as he normally would every morning, he would get up for her, make coffee, and put a cup next to her bed. That was her alarm clock. So one morning, he did this like he did every morning, and she didn't wake up. And so she passed just as she asked the Lord for her to. She asked him to take her in her sleep very peacefully. And that is how she passed away. My grandfather continued nourishing all of us through his garden. There's 3 gardens that he maintained. And of course, since we lived across the street on that same plot of land, I was always in the gardens with him. I was definitely grandfather's little girl. And so today, I'm cooking this makshu, or making this makshu salad in honor of them, learning how to farm from them, learning their hard work and their ethic from them. And that is why I am the co-owner of Gabriel Hall, which is definitely going to be preserving those traditions, that food, and everything that I've been taught. So we present to you a makshu salad with a satsuma Dijon vinaigrette.
Beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And I loved watching you prepare that while listening to you tell your story about your grandmother and grandfather. Their memories are definitely blessings. Wow. Can you tell me, have you had other opportunities to kind of question what Black and Indigenous unity looks like, whether it's related to food or something else?
Definitely a little bit, especially when I think about my own lineage coming from, you know, being Creole. Being Creole is being part Native American and Black, and also mixed with French, you know, and Spanish. Um, and having something like corn and even okra that are such, you know, indigenous crops that um, a lot of the food that I grew up eating and learning to prepare was because of that kind of mixture um, of both indigenous and then, you know, Black food ways and mixing the African and the indigenous. Um, so kind of that's how I've always seen it because of, you know, growing up as someone that's Creole. And then, you know, having some of those even stories shared through my own parents um, has it kind of helped me to think about it a little bit further and then how we move into the future.
Right. I think, are we also, I don't know how the setup is on your side. Are we also gonna literally see the okra lady fingers being?
Yes.
Oh yay, okay, I'm excited.
Yeah. All right.
I've never done this, so what, walk us through the steps.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, this is Brittany. Thank you all for having us. We're so appreciative to be here dining with you all. So we are getting set up here to fry the okra. Just wanted to charge you all to familiarize yourself with your local farmers. As we said, we actually got this okra from Kirsten, so thank you again for that. If you are already connected with local farmers or Black Indigenous farmers in your area, we charge you to go out and volunteer with them. So right now, we are dropping the okra here. We put it together from a recipe that was introduced to us from Between Harlem and Heaven book by Chef JJ. And we utilize their recipe, although they utilize the egg, cornstarch, as well as rice flour. We just did the club soda and the rice flour in this recipe. So we tried this recipe in India, and we introduced it to the children in India of the Yogi Art Center. They were younger kids, and they were actually in a school that was surrounded around yoga and horticulture and how to live in permaculture and survive off the land. And they were doing segments of dishes from around the world, and we were charged with introducing American food to Indian students who were all from all over the world. So we decided to do lady fingers because, of course, of its tradition with the slave trade, as well as we wanted to highlight those ingredients that were brought over. So we did the lady fingers recipe. So we've been constantly evolving that recipe and just trying to elevate that and make it so everyone can enjoy. So we tried to do this recipe vegan. So we did the rice flour with club soda, and it has an amazing crunch that you will see toward the end here. But I wanted to share my story because I am of a mother of a half indigenous and Black mother who farmed farming started in Alabama and was moved north for the Great Migration to actually Flint, Michigan, where my family grew their own food, showing their resilience and their commitment to preserving food and the food ways from their ancestors, as well as finding ways to feed their children. So we're demonstrating the okra, which has always been traditionally used as a side dish, usually chopped and fried with cornmeal. We wanted to kind of elevate that in our experiences from, like I said, Chef JJ and Alexander Smalls and their recipe. So we are presenting to you the fried okra. We have fried it for about 2 to 3 minutes each side, and that will give it that nice crunch. And we'll be able to plate it up here. We paired it with a biri spice that we made from scratch, which is also introduced by the African tradition, the African culture, and we highlighted the okra with just salt and biri. Put it up here. So this is our way of blending the dishes, Braided Nations at its finest, if you will.
Beautiful.
Here's that biri spice.
Oh, beautiful.
Very aromatic. Topped with the green onions. It's a great summer side salad or main protein because there's so many different nutrients in there. I'll highlight this for you.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh my.
There you are.
Oh, that's
We'll
beautiful.
I
My
wish you all
stomach
could-
is rumbling.
could try. We'll send you all some in the mail. And that is the side of okra with the biri, just fried, and it reheats really well in the oven as well, so it keeps that crunch. And you can.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you so much for having us. We're so appreciative.
How close
the opportunity.
are you all to Kirsten and Cam? I feel like there could be a picnic opportunity or like a.
Oh, actually, we hope that we can get together with them later today. So we're about not even 25 minutes from each other, I'm sure.
Oh, nice. Okay. I'm imagining that meal together.
Come on over to Detroit and we'll have you. We'll love that.
Oh, wow. That's so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you. Thank you, Kirsten, for the okra. Thank you, Allied Media, for having us. We appreciate this opportunity to highlight Black and Indigenous folks, especially being from Detroit.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling jealous. I'm feeling like I should be Detroit right now, but that's okay. This is really, I feel I'm having so many emotions. Just I think Idrik's story about her grandmother and just family connections, that dynamics, and it's interesting because hearing that story for me and watching like the hand movements over the food, it kind of reminds me that food isn't just about recipes. And as a chef, I even have to remind myself that food is not just about recipes. It's actually about all these little inflections and all these little instances of being able to think about how you're cultivating through method, through practice, through rhythm, through relation. I think that's so magical and so special to kind of witness those things at the same time. And also the part about it too, right, is foodways, our rights to food, our access to water, all of these things, the labor politics around it are so invisibilized so often by the way that the capitalism is set up and by the way that the supply chain is set up. People who get to have permission or are given permission or given a voice to speak over other people, speak over other traditions and methodologies is why we're here today. And to be able to illuminate that together in this space. And as Clancy said, just to be able to cite a moment in which we all can say, you know, like, actually, we don't know everything, right? There's so many things that we're still trying to unpack and unlearn, and putting those pieces together that feel really inspiring for me. Just, you know, as someone who was asked to participate, I'm like, wow, I know Clancy is totally right. I am fully learning in this moment, and being open in that way feels really important. So thank you all for sharing that space. We have a few more questions that have come in, and I want to this is just going to be open to the group. Anyone can kind of chime in. So I'm going back to the Slido. And again, just to remind anyone who's watching, if you, well, one, are we going to see these mysterious Makshu and Okra collaborative face? We want to see the faces so we can all know the faces behind the magic of the dishes. So I'll let you all debate whether or not you want to, you know, reveal your identities. But the first question that I'm going to pose, I think this is a question for Kirsten and Cam. This is just about the recipe. They mentioned having the recipe, and curious if that means we will find it at the end of the session. It looks amazing. Are you at liberty to share your recipe, Kirsten?
Yeah, actually, I have my recipe sent in already, and it should be available.
Yeah, should be linked too.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. I'm just going down the list right now. But this is an interesting one that's obviously for everyone. So, knowing that Black and Indigenous people have a long history together, what foods have been born together from foods have been born together from foods have been born together from foods have been born together. Did you hear that one?
Can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. So the question is, knowing that Black and Indigenous people have a long history together, what foods have been born and created from this relationship?
I have no idea.
I second saying that I'm not completely sure, but I do think that there's something interesting about this kind of relationship between, you know, kind of like Kirsten and Cam brought up, barbecue as a method of cooking. You know, how that relates to the the ways in which food is prepared is one key, maybe a key indication. But then also, I think also just citing this exchange of, I think it was the okra specifically that was sent to relish. What, or was there another ingredient that maybe I had missed? Just okra. Okay, cool.
I think also to answer that question, that this event, this digital dinner, is basically us putting that into progress, what that looks like, and that's why I'm really glad to be here and hopeful for the future when everything slows down we are able to catch up and do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like the idea. Some thought that I resonate a lot on, or think or meditate a lot on, is that the work that we do is a continuation of history, and that just because something is historic doesn't necessarily mean that it takes that it's the end all be all. That we actually can be the guiding forces for our foodways and how the kind of interwovenness or interconnectedness relates to our own sovereignty, which I really love as an idea. Next question. Oh, this is like less heavy question. What's in the sauce to go with the okra?
So the spice blend, the very, very, it's like 13 spices in there. There's fenugreek. There is smoked paprika, but you can use regular paprika if you would like. I threw in a little bit of fennel, some coriander seeds. I toasted all of these seeds whole, and then I didn't have my mortar and pestle, so I grinded them in a spice blend. Grinder, I'm sorry. And I threw in a little bit of anise, nutmeg, and a pinch of cinnamon.
If you want to make your own paprika, you can just smoke some capsicum or sweet peppers, red peppers, and just smoke those and grind them up. And that'll be smoked paprika.
From taking note, writing that down for my own life and health and wellness. Oh, this is a good question too. So they're all good, but I like this one a lot. This one is feeling the reclaiming of foods that have been co-opted and severely capitalized. Example being a $20 tamale. How are you all navigating that physically and mentally? The co-optation of food and the reclamation, or the how do I say this? Feeling the reclaiming of food that has been co-opted and severely capitalized. How are you all navigating that physically and mentally?
Yeah, I can think. I'll speak. Just kind of throw this out for kind of the foundation of the I Collective. That's always been a huge part of our conversation. What cultural misappropriation looks like, and how we, with the power of social media in particular, how we've really been able to call accountability to people. Across the board, I mean, here's another in-depth part of that conversation that needs to be had. Is I saw recently where POC, I believe Asian woman, was starting a taco stand using nishtamal taco or nishtamal tortilla from somebody that she paid in Mexico to learn the recipe from, this kind of concept, right? Like, what is like inner, that lateral violence within the BIPOC community and things like that. There's a whole nother level of that conversation. But if you look at Francis Ford Coppola, he had started his restaurant in Napa Valley. Was an indigenous restaurant, and not only did we call like a full boycott on it, but we definitely caused a lot of ruckus in the indigenous food sovereignty movement over it, because they had mimicked Takabe restaurant, the American Indian Eatery in Denver, and had one of the elder sovereignty people actually help them with this movement, with opening this restaurant. But they didn't last a year. So it's like those are things that we constantly have to be at the forefront of, is really just being there to call people in and educate them and say, hey, this is that, like this is what this looks like. And I think we're at a really good time to be able to do that based on the deterioration of capitalism and us going back to um, our more traditional means of operating as people. So
Does anyone else want to take a stab at that question? There are two more, and I'm ready to tell you what they are. Thank you, Carlos. Okay, so connecting to culture through food is vital. This is the next question, by the way. Connecting to culture through food is vital, yet I cannot support the current killing and abusing of the earth and animals. How to connect without that?
I can take that if that's all right. I'd say it's really important to find your own vein of food sovereignty, what you find appropriate for yourself, culturally, spiritually, socially, and find the tools. Or, I mean, I would be happy to help. Find the seeds you want to grow, find the foods you connect with, and really focus on those and how they're growing. And and yeah, like, see, that's why I work in urban agriculture right now, is because I was finding a lot of the industry farming very hurtful and like painful to the land and causing a lot of trauma. And so definitely growing your own food is somewhere I started. Yeah, and I'd love to see other people start too.
and let me hit up on that real fast, just because this is something that we come across as indigenous people when it comes to like the vegan evangelical movement, where uh, our cosmologies have that written in there, the meat eating and our relationship to those, whether it's the four-legged, the winged, or those that crawl on their bellies, or those that live in the ocean. It's all uh, we have create parts of our creation story that um, outline those exact things for our people. And whereas some of our relatives have been willing to offer their lives for us, others are held sacred and aren't. But it's a cultural and cosmological understanding historically between our people and those other nations. And I find a lot of times that it's like this really interesting assault on indigenous being when those kind of things come about. So I just wanted to offer that.
And this, thank you, Kirsten and Carlos. This is not a question. This is a comment which I think we all love. Is food has always been a safe place for me. This is Amelia. In parentheses, allergies, mental health issues center around food, etc. This event is an empowering moment of my healing. Thank you. And do you have time for one more question? I feel like we're at that moment. well, maybe to kind of wrap it up, I wanted to offer the image and inspiration for the Braided Nations dinner as maybe one of like a closing slide, just so that everyone can kind of see and be aware of um, what visually has prompted the kind of these ideas of food, interconnectedness, and sovereignty. There it is. This image of the hair being braided, and as Carlos had mentioned, the idea of the seeds being embedded and braided into the hair, which is I mean, for me, I mean, I'm actually very curious about everyone else's kind of relationship to the image here, but for me, it's what I distinctly see is this idea of not only a human to human connectedness, but a human to seed, a human to plant connectedness based on how the image is kind of depicted, which is, kind of going back to what Carlos is saying, and talking about, what our own cosmogenealogy means and signifies for how we relate to the earth and how we prioritize existence. So I'm really excited that that image and that mural exists.
Me too. Can I ask a random question?
Please.
Sewa, I wanted to know, when you are singing to your food or singing while cooking, is there a specific amount of time you sing, or do you sing specific songs?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. No specific time. I just sing. I'm always singing, even if I'm not cooking. So just songs that make me feel good. They're all healing songs, and there really is no specific song. But I do like singing a lot of water songs to the food, and so I've learned different songs from my native language and maybe some other languages in our traditional peyote way songs. And yeah, so no specific songs or length. It's just connecting, with the food and just feeling that joy that these songs bring into our hearts and transmitting that into the food.
I would like to add that practice. So yeah, would you recommend just singing any song that brings you joy? Anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Any song. I mean, sometimes I'm singing songs like R&B songs, or sometimes I'm like hip hop songs, things that are like just make us feel good, just anything that makes us feel good.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So a few more questions have come through. I'm reading. Okay, yes for that one. Okay, this one is, how can we cultivate a meaningful relationship with food? Not as something to be wasted, but as something that is healing and that brings life, as you mentioned.
Wish more people would hop in here. I don't like taking up space. um, it all begins with, it's like the foundation of this dinner, and the seeds braided into the hair, right? The ultimate connectivity comes from water, soil, and seed, right? Like that's, and talk about like holy trinities. That's kind of the basis of it. And, you know, if you're uh, lucky enough to have seed keepers in your life that carry the lineages of these seeds, they have their own lifetimes of, and many lifetimes of songs dedicated to them. They have their own cosmogenealogies that are intertwined with ours, and to really be able to access um, that connectivity, you have to share with them. You have to talk to them. You have to understand them as a being, not a thing. And I think that's one of the biggest and most vast disconnects that we have in this modern time. Because you don't even have to know that your food came from a seed, or that it came from the soil, or that it came because of the water and the sun, right? Like you just exist. Um, Over the years, I've met a lot of people that didn't know that a watermelon came from a seed or a squash came from a seed. Like that's really where we're at. Um, so that's the only thing I can offer is that you take the time with, if it's just to plant a seed in a pot and just cultivate that relationship.
Okay, maybe do one more question and then we say our see you laters. This question is, how have each of you addressed eating healthy, in quotations, these things, versions of each of your culture's foods to help support wellness?
So for me personally, I have just been definitely either growing my own or buying directly from local producers like Kirsten, and then cooking those foods that are familiar and that have a story and a very familiar story from my ancestors. So whether that is a traditional, like the traditional makshu, or turning it into something fresher, like a salad.
I also want to go back to, I was just thinking too, Idrik, as you were kind of telling that story, or like, letting us into like a part of your life as the makshu was being made, that actually for me relates more to wellness than anything I've read in a publication about 10 easy steps to get probiotics, or why kale is so, like, I think that there's something, I think one thing, and I'm kind of answering both questions now. For me, I think the decolonization of wellness is important. And I also think that having your own relationship to what the word wellness means is really important, because what you're doing is you're inserting your own value into what that means for you as an individual. And so when I hear you talk about makshu and that relationship to your family, what I hear and see is the spirit of your family coming through that meal and that dish, and giving them, it is the continuation of their life through your storytelling. And I think that for me, especially as a Black queer man living in a world where, people like me are being killed every day, having things to relate to and live within and beyond the experience of just what the surface or topical meaning of wellness is deeply important, in staying connected to those stories. And I think that's, in a lot of ways, that's what I think everyone has offered up to this conversation. And I feel really grateful. I feel like I'm walking away from this moment so inspired. Thank you all.
Same. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Everybody. Thank you for having us.
Love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, AMC.
Yes, thank you, AMC.